Hi everyone, today I'm going to be reviewing Scandal Season 5, Episode 18. So we starting the episode off on like the most horriblest situations. We got a drunk daddy in the house beating on the mama, talking about some, yes, I'm gonna go in our daughter's room any and every night if I want to, and you ain't gonna do nothing about it. We got a young like 4 or 5 year old Jake outside like playing with his toys and like covering up his ears, because like this seems like this is an ongoing thing. Daddy get drunk, beat on mama. In the middle of the night, he get out of his bed with his wife and then go in there and molest the sister. I don't know if this is Jake's older sister or little sister. So we gonna call this like Jake's backstory, because this basically is what it is, like us telling how Jake came to be the person he is. And then we like flip to like present day. Jake is over at Daddy's Pope's house. You know, they got this weird relationship they got going on. Like Daddy Pope like sees Jake as a son for whatever reason, and Jake is just going along with the situation. They trying to comfort Olivia to let her know, I know it's your first time killing somebody, you gonna be alright. You know, I'm surprised you ain't killed Andrew a long time ago, but you know, she didn't. You know, she could have killed Andrew, but she wasn't on that thing. She was like, the man already suffering and like was so close to death, I didn't need to do anything. But she's like going through this, well, she's leading them that she's going through this whole, I can't believe I done took this man's life. Yeah, this man was responsible for me getting kidnapped and sold on the black market, but I'm not going to kill him. But she's going through some things right there. They trying to comfort her. The Daddy Pope was like, oh yeah, I know you sad about Andrew. Yes, I know you killed him. We didn't. Now you didn't join the crew, but we let you know that Jake, him and Vanessa's wedding is getting pushed up to like in a few days. So I'm gonna need you to get your mind clear, because I'm gonna need you to be here for your brother's wedding. This is kind of like the situation Daddy Pope got going on. Like, how does he still like call Jake his son when Jake and Olivia used to go together? I guess like son-in-law, but no, he's like, Jake, you are the son that I never had. I tried to get Olivia to get all that power and glory, but she didn't really. She like squandered that. So like my only hope is for you. This is when we find out when Daddy Pope and Jake first met. Jake was in the Navy. He was a hothead. He was fighting any and everybody he could. And Daddy Pope, his lace front, and some other dude come walking in trying to, you know, give Jake an opportunity to say, hey, you can either go to prison or you can join B613. But Jake was like, I'm not going to prison. Like, I got like 2 weeks in the brig and then I'm back on the side. But that's like, no, because you know that dude whose face you broke with those hands right there? His father happened to be a congressman, and they are, you know, trying to kick you out of the Navy, and they're trying to, you know, get charges on you. So if you happen to be charged and found guilty, you're gonna spend like 10 or 20 years in prison. So just go ahead and sign this paper right here. I know this is not the normal Navy papers that you use this time, but this is a whole nother organization. He's like, this is for Jake Ballard. My name is Pete Harris. We finally found out Jake's government name. His actual name that he was given at birth is Pete Harris and not Jake Ballard. I don't know why I was surprised about that, but like, we so used to calling him Jake, but he's still gonna be Jake. I'm not gonna call him Pete. He is Jake. And he's sitting thinking like, do I want to go to prison, or do I want to join this organization with this man, his lace front, and this other man over here? And like, he's like thinking like, what is best for me right now? Because I really just want to hit something or somebody right now. So after convincing Daddy Pope and Jake that, you know, she just needed a little air, she needed to get out the house. She's been in the house for like 3 or 4 weeks right now after killing Andrew. She just needs to get out there. She needs spare. So she goes running and she meets up with Quinn and Huck to let them know, we need to find out what's going down, because my daddy, he done doggone pushed up the wedding for Jake and Vanessa. So I need to know what's going on. So apparently Daddy Pope, he done went all the way out on this wedding. He got celebrities coming out. He got government officials coming out. He got royalty coming out. I'm like, do they know Jake and them? But I guess like Vanessa, she's like a socialite, so I guess they kind of, I don't know how some royal people are coming to the wedding, but apparently they coming. So Quinn is like, they got all these like high power people coming. What is going on? What is his deal? So Olivia's like, she's going to tap into Jake's weakness and find out what it is that is going on. So you know, she's at home crying, don't know what to do with herself, upset. So Jake comes in there. She's like, you know what, I cannot come to the engagement party. This is too soon. After I done just, you know, bash Andrew's head in several times, I don't know what to do with myself. So he's like, okay. He goes out there to tell Vanessa, look here, babe, I'm going to need you to go ahead of me because Olivia, she's upset right now. Now, why he thought she was just going to be like, okay, babe, I'm going to go to our engagement party ahead of you so you can go over here and console Olivia, which I don't even know why she's staying here. Yes, this is her daddy's house, but you live in here too. So, okay, this is what we going to do. Okay, you go ahead and stay here with Olivia. I'm going to go off to our engagement party. And I'm like, Jake, I know this is not for real for you, but you really just thought that she was just going to be like, okay, make sure Olivia's okay and she's fine, and I'm going to go to our engagement party by herself. I'm like, really, Jake? So we found out that Charlie joined the B613 at the same time Jake did. But Charlie, he was like a model B613er. Like, Daddy Pope was like, okay, what gun would you use for this situation? Charlie was on to use this type of gun. He was disassembling, you know, taking the gun apart and putting it back together. This is like, Charlie was like made to be in B613. Meanwhile, Jake over here, he's still in that hothead situation. Like, you over here calling this man sir. You over happy for this. Like, Jake, he was not for it. And then we had Charlie beating the whole entire crap out of Jake. And like, Jake just would not budge on his like, just like nonchalant, I don't care about this, you not gonna break me situation. Charles like, I've been beating this dude for like 2 hours right now, and he's not breaking him. Like, you can put him in the hole, but I don't even think that's gonna work. So Daddy's Pope's like, okay, we're gonna put you in the hole for a month. Now y'all know this is the hole that, you know, Huck used to go into quite often. Like, that whole solitary situation where you only have your thoughts and like, you gonna mess around and go crazy. So Jake was in that hole for like a good month, just with his thoughts. Like, that would have tore me apart. Like, too much silence, like, freaks me out. Like, I need to hear some type of noise, even if it's like a noise every once in a while, but like complete silence. Yeah, Daddy Pope knew what he was doing to break some folks. So we got Olivia acting drunk as a skunk, trying to get to Jake. Like, I know you don't love her. Why are you doing this? And finally, he's like, yes, I don't love her. So she's like, oh, okay, you got so. He's like, oh, so you was playing me. She's like, why are you even marrying Vanessa in the first place? If you don't love her, what do you and my daddy got going on? Apparently, Daddy Pope wants Jake to marry Vanessa because Vanessa, she's a lawyer, she's a socialite, she's the perfect wife, so Jake can become vice president. He's looking for like Jake's greatness. This is what Daddy Pope wants. And Jake was like, why don't you just say no? He's like, you know how many times in the last 20 years that I have tried to say no and just turn away from your father, and I keep on coming back. Like, your daddy got a hold on me, just like he got a hold on Huck. Huck had plenty of times where he could have killed Daddy Pope and didn't. It's like, Daddy Pope is in their head. So now they trying to figure out, how are we going to separate Jake from Daddy Pope? So they all at Pope and Associates like, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to figure this out? It's like, no matter where you run, anywhere on this planet, Daddy Pope is going to find you. So that's not going to work. So their only solution is, you're going to have to walk down that aisle to Vanessa, and when they say, do you take this woman to marry, you're just going to have to be like, no. Because Liv's like, even after this, there's no way that I can save you in the public eye and you still become vice president. People are just going to look at you sideways, and there's no, you know, there's no coming back from that. So this is their plan. We're going to just be like, you're going to walk down the aisle like everything's all hunky-dory. And then when it's time to say, do you take this wife, you just going to be like, nah, bruh, I don't really want to do that. Jake and Olivia, they seem to like, okay, since you're not going to marry Vanessa, you two are not going to be getting married. Now, we love each other. We're going to be together. So after you get all that foolishness done and, you know, not marry Vanessa, then we can be together. But I knew that was not going to turn out the way they thought it was going to turn out. So it's the day of the wedding. Everything's in place. Jake just has to walk down the aisle and say, no, I don't want to marry this woman. But like I knew, Daddy Pope, he was like 15 steps ahead of him. So he comes sitting down at the lips like, oh, isn't this wonderful? Look here, I know what you're up to. So you go ahead and tell Jake that he's going to marry Vanessa. I know what your plan is. And if he does not marry Vanessa, I will slit his throat. See, I'm looking out for my son and his greatness. I failed with you because you had greatness. You was running the White House and you squandered that. This is Jake's opportunity. This is my son's opportunity to be greatness. So if he doesn't marry Vanessa, his throat will be slit. So now Olivia's like, now I gotta go convince Jake that I don't want him. So he's standing outside like, all right, I just got to break up with her, then we could be together. It's just like, you know what? I don't love you. You know how I am. I want you, then I don't want you. You can never replace Fitz. You too weak, you know. If I couldn't make it with Fitz and I was in the White House, how am I going to make it with you? When I was with you in bed, all I was thinking about Fitz. She is like digging the knife so far into his heart. I'm like, oh my goodness. And like, she walks off, sees Fitz, and just keeps on going on. Like, she did everything not to cry, because she's like, I gotta like hurt this man so much to convince him, because if not, he gonna be somewhere dead at the hands of my daddy. So Jake walks down the aisle. Daddy Pope is sitting there, and it's like the wedding's going off. Like, you take this woman, and Jake pauses for a minute, and Daddy Pope like, oh, he better do what I tell him to do. And when Jake eventually says, yes, I take this woman, I was like, good, Jake, because you was almost dead and you didn't even know it. I'm pretty sure that Daddy Pope had snipers like right then and there in case you tried to do something and you was going to be dead right then and there. He didn't have to slit your throat. He was just telling Olivia that he had plans, multiple plans going out there. I was like, oh, poor Jake. Then we like seen Jake when he first like came out of the hole, and like, Daddy Pope was so up in this man's head. It was just the weirdest and the creepiest conversation, because Daddy Pope was like talking about, Jake, you wasn't there for your family. You knew your daddy was going in there and raping your sister, and you did nothing about it. Like, when that was first happening, he was a son. He was a child, like 4 or 5 years old. He couldn't protect his daddy. He couldn't protect his mom and sister from the daddy. He's like, what did you do when your sister hung herself after she aborted her son? Your nephew, your brother. This is when Jake is flipping out, like ready to really do some harm to Daddy Pope. Daddy Pope was like, just go ahead and let it out. What was you thinking about in that hole? Was you thinking about all the things you couldn't do and you couldn't save your sister? And then afterwards, he hugs Jake's like, all right, I'm your father now. I'm like, what kind of sick mess is going on? What happened to Daddy Pope in his life to make him crazy like this? So after Jake got cleaned up, Daddy Pope was like, okay, you can go ahead and live your life like you want to, or you can come work for me 613. Jake was like, thank you, sir, and walks out. Went to his daddy's house, walked to the door, blew him away, and came back to Daddy Pope like, all right, I'm ready now. And Daddy Pope was happy. I'm like, something really wrong with Daddy Pope. This was an interesting episode because we found like the backstory of Jake and how he began to work for B613, and like all the tragedy that went on in his life as a child, and him not being able to protect his sister from his old drunk rapist daddy, pedophile daddy, and all that he went through with Daddy Pope, and Daddy Pope beating him, put him in the hole, shaming him, and then saying, I'm your daddy. It was just weird. So that was just went on. If I left anything out, by all means, leave a comment or video response. And like always, I want to thank my subscribers and the people watching my videos. I want you to like this video, comment, and subscribe. And share this video with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and here on YouTube. This is Lady T signing off. Have a good one.